Smile. So Smile is the new horror film that just came out recently. Smile. Seems like we've been on a track of really good horror movies. Will Smile be the next one? Well, we will let you know. This movie Smile is directed by Parker Finn. We've had a lot of great horror movies like X, like Pearl, Prey, Fresh. What else? Another one that was really great. That just Barbarian that just really came out. That was also very good. I know that I didn't know if Nick liked Scream 5. That was the movie that came out.
Oh, does the hell out of Scream 5.
Okay, he really likes Scream 5. Yeah. I didn't personally like Scream 5 all that much, but I know some people who do really love it a lot, but I wasn't really personally big on it. But it seems like this year we've been getting a track of some really, really good kind of horror movies this year. What do you think?
It, it it's definitely been the most stacked year for horror in a very long time. Just a sheer amount of quality horror films that come out, like you've mentioned, like Barbarian, like X, even Pearl, even to an extent, stuff like smaller stuff like Fresh. Even if you could consider it Prey, Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
Yep, I forgot about that. Bodies, if you consider that a horror movie. So yeah, it seems like we've had a good year. This Smile is directed by Parker Finn, who this is his third film. He did the Hide Behind and Laura Hasn't Sleep. I haven't seen any of those other movies. Here in this movie, Smile, it is led by Kevin Bacon's daughter. Which is Sosie Bacon. You also have Jesse T. Usher and Kyle Gallner, who's also in this, and as well as Cal Penn. So in this movie, you have Sosie Bacon, who's playing a therapist. She works at a mental health facility. She's seeing a patient. The patient is telling her that she sees somebody following her, and it feels like somebody's just taking over somebody's body, somebody's face, and it's just this thing that kind of goes around with her everywhere she kind of goes. You'll see kind of like you said that smile there, and it's very much reminiscent. You'll know of other kind of curse movies. You'll see something like The Ring or It Follows, where this demon is basically like an STD, where it just kind of just jumps to person to person. You know what I mean? This kind of curse does as soon as it kind of affects a person. The way the curse does it is a person will kill themselves in front of another person, and then that is how the demon is able to hop to the other person and kind of infect them and curse them and follow them ultimately until they do the same thing. And watching the trailers for this, I think it almost portrays it as something like I mentioned before. I wasn't really excited to see it because it's like, oh well, it just kind of looks like lame, like a Truth or Dare again. You know what I mean? That movie.
Even down to like the effect of the actual smile on a lot of the possessed people, it looks very much like Truth or Dare, albeit a little bit more toned down. In the trailer, it looks more like a generic big studio horror film that's just meant to get teenagers in seats at midnight.
Yeah. But when you actually watch the movie, it has a lot going on in it, and when it relates to kind of trauma,
it's a much slower paced and much more thematically rich film than I ever expected out of seeing that trailer.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a surprise. With this discussion of kind of trauma, how trauma impacts you, how trauma does follow you throughout your whole life. I think it can be seen as kind of a metaphor for that.
A little bit of trauma, and also just the way that this demon messes with people. A little bit of just mental decline and how this demon affects Sosie Bacon throughout the film, and how she's sort of losing her mind, and how everybody around her is just kind of like had enough. It's very indicative of like a mental illness and how people with it are treated.
Yeah, because you start to see everyone around her, like her sister and her sister's husband. You also see with her husband in this movie, Jesse T. Usher, like everyone in her life is just kind of like, they're trying to work with her, but eventually it just comes a breaking point, and it kind of, almost ask the audience, like, what would be the breaking point for you if you did have someone in your life who was behaving in this manner very radically, and saying these kind of things, and how much would you be there for that person? Because she's, seeing these things, this demon, like you said, is really, I mean, it's fucking with her, and it's like this demon is a fucking prick, and just
This demon's a fucking asshole.
just constantly ruining this woman's life. And I thought that was also kind of something to see, and even I think even in the titular role, Sosie Bacon, because again, you've had similar horror movies like this before of a woman who's being stalked by a demon or entity, and then she's acting very erratic, and she doesn't know what to do, and she's constantly screaming.
It's very it's very easy to make a performance like this very cartoonish, but I think Sosie Bacon, it does a really good job at grounding it, and so does Parker Finn, because he doesn't really linger on it that much. It's not like one scene she's fine and then the next she's going crazy. It's a slow build up until the climax of the film.
Yeah. And the way, like I said, the demon plays with her mind, the things that she sees, is very interesting. And I think that's also the really messed up part of the movie. Which I thought is very well done. I mean, the performance by Sosie Bacon is very good, and she really doesn't make it a generic, I don't think, horror movie performance of just a person who's running from something or scared or something. I think she really, gives it a lot more gravity to it. You have other kind of side performances in this. You have Kal Penn, who's in this, who's her boss at the facility or mental health facility there that she's working at. I think he does, it's been a while since I've seen Kal Penn. I think he actually does a kind of good, decent job. I haven't seen Kal Penn in a while.
Yeah, it's a very solid dramatic turn, and I'm trying to remember the actress who plays the patient that passes the curse on to her. She is incredible for like, the 5 minutes of screen time. Her job is mostly just to dump exposition before that character dies, but the camera lingers on her so much, and she has to just traverse that range of emotion, mostly just panic. Pure unadulterated panic for like almost like 5 minutes of screen time. She does it beautifully.
Yeah. The actress names, I believe that her name is, let's see, I had it right here really quick. Caitlin Stasey is her name, I believe.
She's the poster woman.
Yeah,
she's the woman that's her smile on the poster, and it is a little bit unnerving.
Yeah. I would say I think the trailer, is the weak part of this. I think, because I've been to the theaters multiple times and I've seen the trailer for it. So that was kind of like, oh, okay, well, you know what I mean? I think it gives away some kind of good parts in the movie.
If you're able to try to see this as cold as you can, because the trailers, even the teaser spots for this, they give away most of the best scares in the movie. And even if the trailers didn't give them away, I kind of saw them coming anyway, either with just how a lot of those scenes are directed.
Yeah. So that was kind of a little bit of an issue. I think some of the stuff I didn't really think her sister in this movie or her sister's husband were particularly that good. I think they were kind of, typical annoying type of sibling.
They kind of get one scene where they can actually get to flex and have some good character beats, or at least character beats that kind of make sense. But outside of that, I was kind of checking out every time they were on screen.
Yeah, but I don't think they were terrible. It's just just kind of I don't think they were kind of that strong in it. But other than that, I still think it's like I said, this was a really good. I think this was kind of also a surprise for me from seeing the trailer, and not thinking much of it going into it. But seeing it, I was like, yeah, this is really well done in the themes that it's going for, about trauma. And it kind of reminded me a little bit of something like you saw, it reminded me of The Night House, which I saw like a year or two ago, with Rebecca Hall in it. And I think, that movie discussing, kind of the after effects of suicide and how that kind of deals and how that kind of really impacts a person. And I think there's some of these kind of similar things here that show up in Smile, which I really very much appreciated. So for me, I give it Smile I'm gonna give it a strong tune in for me. I think a strong tune in. What about you?
Me, I think this is a much better film than I was expecting from the trailer. I think Sosie Bacon is incredible, giving this performance. I think Parker Finn, this is an impressive. I think he's done short films before, and I think this might be his first feature length movie. I believe so.
Mm,
And yeah, this is just off of the strength of this. I'd say he's very much a guy to watch. Not a fan of, I think some of the side characters did border a little bit on the cartoonish. I wasn't a fan of the build up towards the third act because it's a beat that you can see coming a mile away if you have any basic knowledge of filmmaking. However, the final image of the film is haunting and something that is going to be in my nightmares for a while.
mm,
I
mm,
do think that this is a very solid horror movie, but I don't know if I would put it on my best horror movies of the year.
yeah.
I had a lot of fun with it. However, my experience was kind of ruined by being in a theater with a bunch of dumbass teenagers that wouldn't stop talking during it. I'm not going to hold the film hold that against the film, but I think just the fact that I saw so many trailers for it and they gave away so many of the good scares, I'm kind of like more on a high stream it with this.
Mm, okay. I think it's a simple, effective horror movie. I think that's the best way to describe it because it's very simple in the premise, curse type of movie. But I think the way the execution is, I think it does a very good job of the performances of the direction of it. I think it's able to really kind of excel than just being your average kind of everyday curse movie that you would kind of see. Yeah. So we got a kind of a strong tune in for me, and a high stream it from you. All right.
Mhm.
That was our review of Smile.